Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, December 7th, 2022. We are going to kick the podcast off with news and notes for one reason only, and that is because Aaron Judge has made a decision after it was reported yesterday by John Heyman that he was headed to San Francisco. That turned out to be false. He is headed back to the Bronx, 9 years, $360 million. This was a move the Yankees had to do, regardless of who's running the show. As I said on the podcast 1,000 times, the contract might not look good at the end, but this is something the Yankees absolutely had to get done. No excuses. Now let's hope that they build around Aaron Judge the right way. They get some guys that are upgrades. I think that they will. They already signed Tommy Kahnle yesterday for 2 years, $11.5 million, who used to be teammates with Judge, obviously, as they needed a reliever. But the most important thing they had to do was done, and that's all that matters right now. Great day to be a Yankees fan. Great day for the franchise after yesterday could have been one of the worst days in franchise history if the Heyman report ended up being true, but it wasn't. And John Morosi had it first thing this morning that Judge was in agreement with the Yankees, and such a wonderful time to be alive. And the Judges' chambers are going to be rocking in 2023. And it was reported by Jeff Passan, among others, that Judge took less money to stay with the Yankees. Other teams had better offers. But he ultimately wanted to stay in New York, and he wanted the Yankees to up the offer, and $9,360 was the reported offer that he wanted. That's what the Giants' offer was yesterday. Maybe they upped their offer, but maybe the agent told Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner match that, and they did, and they were desperate to keep him. And Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman were very open about how Aaron Judge was their top priority, and they pulled it off, and he's back in pinstripes. Listen, I was one that didn't want Brian Cashman back as general manager, but I felt that regardless of who GM was, Aaron Judge needed to be back. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. He did his job. Hal Steinbrenner did his job. So, you got to give credit where credit's due sometimes. So, good job on them. And such a bad day for the San Francisco Giants, who thought they had him. John Heyman thought that they had him. Everyone believed the report, and then he backed it up about 5 minutes later. And now John Heyman has egg on his face, especially now that Judge didn't go to San Francisco and he's back with the Yankees. So now the question is, where the Giants pivot? Carlos Correa has to be on top of their list right now. And then probably on the next tiers like Dansby Swanson and Xander Bogaerts, maybe they go for Ohtani in 2023. But I don't think it's a failure that the Giants didn't get him, but I don't blame their fans for being upset because they thought they had him. So, a wonderful day if you're a Yankees fan. And the third finalist for Judge was the San Diego Padres. I know there was a mystery team out there. Everyone was speculating that it could have been the Red Sox or the Mets. There were some people saying it was the Padres, and indeed it was the San Diego Padres, who offered Trey Turner the most money. And Trey Turner pretty much did the same thing as Judge. He turned down more money to play where he wanted to play. So I think that the Padres have other options, and we'll see where they go. But after John Heyman obviously denied his own report, there are a lot of other reporters saying that neither side was saying it was true, and Michael Kay got a text on his show saying that the Yankees are still in play for Judge, and that report was false. And Andy Martino, who covers the Yankees and the Mets for SNY, said the same thing. And Andy Martino, say what you want, but he is a good at his job. And this was all after it came out in the Time magazine that Aaron Judge was unhappy with Brian Cashman when they revealed the initial 7-year, $213.5 million offer in April. And there were some people that thought that was a fair offer at the time because he had past injury history and only had that one great year. And now he followed it up with the 62 home run year, and he gets rewarded for that by the team that he belongs to be with, and that is staying in New York with the Yankees. All right, other baseball news, we had the Major League Baseball draft lottery last night. The winner of the draft lottery is the Pittsburgh Pirates. This was the inaugural lottery. Pittsburgh was 3 in the pecking order for worst record, but had the same percentage at the top overall pick as the Nationals and the Athletics, who dropped to 6th. The Nats got the number 2 pick. The Tigers jumped from 6 to 3. The Rangers jumped from 7 to 4. I forget who got the 5th pick, and then the 6th pick was Oakland. So Pittsburgh gets 1, Washington 2, Detroit 3, Texas 4, Minnesota. That's right, they were the ones that jumped. They jumped from like 13 to 5 or something crazy like that. And Oakland was 6. Cincy 7, Kansas City 8, Colorado 9, Miami 10, Angels 11, D-backs 12, Cubs 13, Red Sox 14, White Sox 15, Giants 16, Orioles 17, Milwaukee 18. I like the lottery thing. And this was a good decision by the league to do this. More free agent stuff. Cubs signed Jamison Taillon, 4 years, $68 million. I don't know if I like that signing. I don't think Taillon was all that great. I think he'll do well in Wrigley, but I don't know if he will own up to that contract. Major League Baseball used 3 balls as the Saber Award. Person says that evidence indicates that 3 different baseballs were used by the league this season. The Mets are highest on Kude Senga, but he has a half dozen teams interested and no deadline to sign. After the Judge Giants rumor turned out to not be true, the Giants signed Mitch Haniger, 3 years, $43.5 million. Mitch Haniger's a good player. He had some moments on the Mariners. I think he'll do fine in San Francisco. A contract I really didn't like was the Phillies signing Taijuan Walker, 4 for $78. I think that it was an overpay. I think Taijuan should have gotten around what Taillon gotten, not $78 million. I think 4 for $68 would have been fair for him, but 4 for $78, I think is a little too much money. So the Phils replaced Kyle Gibson in their rotation with somebody better. So he'll be their number 4 starter. So it'd be Nola, Wheeler, Ranger, Suarez, Walker. That's a really good top 4 for the Phillies. The Cubs also signed Cody Bellinger to a 1-year deal. We'll see about this one. If he produces, then maybe they trade him. And the funny thing is that Mitch Henniker is recruiting Aaron Judge. The Guardians signed Josh Bell, 2 years, $33 million. I think that's a good signing for the Guardians. They upgrade at first base and have more help around Jose Ramirez. The Rangers signed Andrew Heaney, 2 years, $25 million, but the incentives can take the deal up to $37 million. A lot of people are in on Andrew Heaney. He's a back-end starter. He'll probably be the fourth guy on the Rangers. Maybe even the third. The Cardinals are among the favorites for Wilson Contreras. We've been hearing that a lot. We talked about how the Padres offered more than the Phillies for Trey Turner. The Dodgers are talking to Justin Turner. The Marlins are also interested. The Dodgers want Shohei Ohtani in 2023, as that's the player they truly want in next season's free agency. You know, everybody's going to be going after him. I predicted that he was going to get traded this offseason to the Mets. I ultimately think that he'll be a Met. That's just my gut. And I think that Steve Cohen wants that guy so bad. The Blue Jays were in on Cody Bellinger before he ended up going to the Cubs. Masataka Yoshida will be posted today as people say he's a plug-and-play left field option with elite bat-the-ball skills. I think a lot of teams are going to be in on this guy. We'll see. The relievers of the year have been announced. Emmanuel Clase of the Guardians and Edwin Diaz of the Mets. So that's not surprising. The biggest football news that came in yesterday is that Baker Mayfield was claimed off waivers by the Los Angeles Rams after it was rumored that San Francisco was interested and he could play on Thursday against the Raiders, which is really interesting. And speaking of the Niners, Jimmy G is not done for the year as he doesn't need surgery and has a chance to return in 7 to 8 weeks for the playoffs, which is wild. So they would just have to survive and move on in the playoffs. They better hope they play a fraudulent team like Seattle or the Giants in round one. I mean, is that even possible? Yeah, because they're going to win that division potentially. And that 6 seed could be Seattle or the Giants. Or, I mean, the Commanders scare me a little bit because Chase Young could be back and they have a deep threat in McLaurin. But San Fran could beat them too, absolutely, even without Jimmy G. If they could beat the Miami Dolphins without Jimmy G, then they could beat a lot of teams without Jimmy G. It would just have to be Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel leading the way and George Kittle making plays, and then obviously the defense doing what it always does. Odell Beckham Jr. may not play until mid-January as the Cowboys have concerns that his ACL recovery hasn't progressed enough after his physical. So I don't think he's going to play this year personally. Robert Quinn going on injury reserve due to a knee injury. Eagles are optimistic that he could be back for the playoffs. Lamar Jackson out 1 to 3 weeks due to a knee injury that is not surprising. Could cost the Ravens a playoff spot. Tyler Huntley was terrible in that game. Why didn't they go for Baker Mayfield? He's better than Tyler Huntley. Oh, wait, there was waivers. So, I think there were teams that were desperate. Titans fired general manager John Robinson at mid-division best 7-5 season. And everyone says that the A.J. Brown trade's a big reason why he got fired. I agree with that. He obviously torched the Titans the other day. And, I mean, Burks is solid, but if they had A.J. Brown instead, they probably would still be the fourth best team in the AFC, though. Or maybe the fifth best team in the AFC, depending on how you feel about the Dolphins. But that was a bad trade. They should have gotten more for him. Meanwhile, the Raiders got a lot for Devontae Adams. I don't think, or not a lot, or the Packers did okay. The Packers did better than the Titans did in that deal, for A.J. Brown. Ben Simmons returned Friday against the Hawks after missing last 3 games due to a knee soreness. And Joey Chestnut put on a show in the halftime show of the Cavs game the other night against the Lakers. Hockey news, Nathan McKinnon out 4 weeks with an upper body injury. Brutal news for the Avs, who are not having a good start to their defending the Cup season. And Chris Letang is back on the ice after his stroke just over a week. That's great to see. Hopefully Chris Letang is doing better. Alrighty, now we'll move on to Survivor, which we have 2 episodes left of the season. So we have Cody, Cassidy, Carla, Gabler, Owen, and Jesse left. And the irony is that 2 each from the original tribes, which is something you don't see often. Cody and Jesse of Vezi, Carla and Cassidy of Coco, and Gabler and Owen of Baca. So it's going to be interesting to see what the challenge is going to be tonight. If I had to guess at gunpoint who wins immunity, I really think Carla's on a roll. I think she's the favorite right now to win. She has come a long way as her pal Cassidy, who it looks like in like the previews of this episode that those two were kind of bickering because there are rumors that Carla was going to try to vote out Cass, but she ended up voting Sammy. But I'm going to say Carla wins immunity. But the player that goes home, I think there's going to be heavy talk about Cass. But at gunpoint, I feel like Gabler's it. I think time has come for Gabler. The theme of this season, and you saw a little bit last season too, is that they toss one name out there. That's usually the usual suspect. In that case, it's Cassidy or Owen. And the person that ends up going home is somebody that's thrown in there at the last minute. And we saw it with Noelle 2 weeks ago. And I think we're going to see it here with Gabler. So my gut tells me that Gabler goes home, and the final 5 will be Cody, Cass, Carla, Owen, and Jesse, which would be a really fun final 5. All right, now we'll do World Cup. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to... Actually, no. There's no games today. My apologies. So, Morocco over Spain, 0-0, but they advanced 3-0 on penalties as Morocco pulls off the big upset. Abdelhamid Sabiri scores first for Morocco. Pablo Sarabia save. He misses. Hakim Ziyech scores for Morocco. Carlos Soler misses. Badr Banoun and Spain's goalie saves that one. Sergio Busquets as Morocco's goaltender stands strong again. And then Achraf Hakimi scores the winner in kicks as Morocco advances to the quarterfinals as they'll take on Portugal on Saturday. So it should be a fun weekend of World Cup soccer with Friday and Saturday. And we will touch on the matches on the Friday podcast. All right, college basketball. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to what should be another busy window in the sport today. Mercer over Middle Georgia State 100-62. Air Force over South Dakota 79-58. Buffalo over S.J. Fish 91-53. Syracuse over Oakland 95-66. App State over Carlo 103-43. Bellarmine over Wabash 86-45. Butler over Yale 71-61. Number 17 Illinois over number 2 Texas 85-78 in overtime. Number 9 Arkansas over UNC Greensboro 65-58. St. Fran Brooklyn over Hartford 68-50. Chattanooga over Milwaukee 88-76. Princeton over Lafayette 69-58. Winthrop over SC State 81-67. Charleston over Presbyterian 67-62. UMBC over Columbia 73-66. UNC Wilmington over East Carolina 74-61. American over Mount St. Mary 69-61. Iona over St. Louis 84-62. Temple over St. Joe's 70-60. LaSalle over Bucknell 82-72. George Mason over Maryland Eastern 67-54. Fordham over Wagner 72-59. Vermont over Dartmouth 68-52. Liberty over VU Lynchburg 101-49. High Point over Furman 85-82. NC State over Coppin State 94-72. Georgia Tech over Georgia 79-77. New Hampshire over BC 74-71 in overtime. Wofford over Coastal Carolina 71-61. Belmont over Trevecca 83-53. Number 1 Houston over North Florida 76-42. Number 3 Virginia over James Madison 55-50. Number 12 Baylor over Tarleton 80-57. Number 24 TCU over Jackson State 78-51. Austin P over Kentucky Christian 102-57. Tennessee State over Boise 103-49. Valpo over Trinity, Illinois 96-60. Houston Christian over Maine, Fort Kent 100-63. North Texas over Texas Arlington 60-57. Bradley over SIU Edwardsville 56-54. Memphis over Little Rock 87-71. Little Chicago over Green Bay 70-46. Central Arkansas over Arkansas State 72-67. Kansas State over App Christian 81-64. Toledo over Northern Iowa 83-75. Marquette over NC Central 90-78. Wisconsin over number 13 Maryland 64-59. Southern Utah over West Coast Baptist 120-49. Wyoming over A&M Commerce 91-76. Boise State over Eastern Oregon 90-54. Oklahoma State over Sam Houston 65-51. Montana over South Dakota State 81-56. Idaho State over Montana Western 61-53. Idaho over North Dakota 76-66. New Mexico over Western New Mexico 102-63. San Jose State over Bakersfield 58-48. Northern Arizona over Pacific 73-69. Number 15 Duke over Iowa 74-62. And Nevada over Pepperdine 85-77. Bryant Tulane postponed. All right, another good slate for today. 4:30 Warren Wilson, UNC Asheville. 6 o'clock Penn State, Wilkes-Barre, Morgan State. 6:30 Fox Sports 1, DePaul St. John's from the Lou. I project St. John's by 8.5. And it is 8.5 total is 157.5. I'll take the under. Siena, Georgetown, Fox Sports 2. My line is Georgetown 8.25, and it's 6.5. Total's 142.5. I'll take the over. Big Ten Network, big one. Michigan State, Penn State. My projection is Michigan State by 1. It's Penn State by 3.5. Wow. Give me Michigan State plus 3.5 and plus 164 to win. 7 o'clock, Hofstra, number 4, Purdue. My line is Purdue by 14, and it's 23.5. That's big. Give me Hofstra getting the point. Eastern Washington and number 10 Tennessee, or number 7 Tennessee on the SEC Network. My line is Tennessee by 25. It's 28.5. Give me Eastern Kentucky. Iowa Wesleyan and Western Illinois we can skip. Robert Morris and Central Michigan. My line is Central Michigan by 10. And we have only 2.5. I'm going to leave the points. Rider Stonehill. My line is Rider 13. And it's Rider 3.5. I'm going to leave the points. Sacred Heart Fairfield. My line is Fairfield 6.25. And it is 8.5. Give me Sacred Heart getting the points. Alabama State and North Alabama. My line is North Alabama by 11.25. And it's 7.5. I'll lay the points. Quinnipiac, Holy Cross. My line is Quinnipiac by 12.5. And it's 10.5. I'll lay the points. Loyola, Maryland, and Hampton. Loyola, Maryland by a half. Is my projection. It's 2.5. I'm going to take Hampton getting the 2.5. NJIT, Army. My line is Army 6.25, and it is 9. Give me NJIT getting the points. Delaware State, Delaware. My line is Delaware by 24, and it is 18.5. I'll lay it. Western Carolina and Davidson. My line is Davidson 14.5, and it is 15.5. Total is 143.5. I'll take the over. Piedmont, Georgia Southern. We can skip. William and Mary, Old Dominion. My line is Old Dominion by 2.5. And it's 9.5. Give me William and Mary getting the points. Jacksonville, VCU. My line's VCU by 10. And it is VCU 7.5. I'll lay the points. Cleveland State and St. Bonaventure. My line is Bonaventure by 16.5. And it is, let's see here. 8.5. I'm going to lay it. Brown, Rhode Island. My line is Rhode Island by 11.75. And it is 5.5. I'll lay it. Florida Gulf Coast and FAU. My line's FAU by 6.5. And it is 8.5. Give me Gulf Coast getting the points. Carlo, VMI, we can skip. Penn, Villanova. On CBS Sports Network, my line's Villanova by 16.75. And it's 14.5. I'll lay the points. Navy, West Virginia, my line's 17.5, and it's 18.5. Total's 136.5. I'll take the over. BU, Notre Dame. My line is Notre Dame by 13.5, and it's 14.5. Total's 133.5. I'll take the over. Cornell and Miami, Florida. Mine's Miami by 19, and it's 14.5. I'll lay the points. 7:30, Colgate, Binghamton. Mine's Binghamton by 3/4. And it's Colgate by a whopping 11.5. Give me Binghamton getting the 11.5 and plus 570 to win the game on the court. Anderson, Indiana, and Southern Indiana at 8. We can skip. Eastern Michigan and Illinois State. My projection is Illinois State by 1.75. And it is 5.5. In favor of Illinois State. Give me Eastern plus 5.5 and plus 205 to win. Ball State, Eastern Michigan. My line is Ball State by 11.75, and it is 11.5. Totals 136.5. I'll take the over. Texas Lutheran, A&M Corpus Christi, and Belhaven, Southeast Louisiana. We can skip. Omaha Drake. My line is Drake by 19.75, and it is 19.5. Totals 141.5. I'll take the over. Nichols and Texas Tech. My line is Tech by 19.5, and it is 20.5. Totals 139.5. I'll take the over. Dayton and Virginia Tech on the ACC network. My line is Va Tech by 6.5, and it's 6.5. Totals 127.5. I'm getting a ton of these right on the money. Give me the over. 8:30 Big Ten Network, Nebraska, number 14, Indiana. My line is Indiana by 13.25. And it's 13.5 and 135.5. I'll take the over. Manhattan, Providence on Fox Sports 1. My line's Providence by 13.5, and it's 19.5. Give me Manhattan in the points. Lincoln, Pennsylvania, Seton Hall, Fox Sports 2. We can skip. 9 o'clock on ESPN 2. Number 5, UConn in Florida. My line is UConn by 1.75, and it's 4.5. Give me Florida getting the points. Northern Kentucky and Washington State. My line's Wazoo by 15. It's 12.5. I'm laying the points. Utah Valley, BYU. My line's BYU by 17.25, and it is 8.5. I'll lay the points. Loyola Marymount and Grand Canyon. My line is Grand Canyon by 5.75. It's 4.5. Totals 132.5. I'll take the over. Arizona State and SMU on ESPNU. My line is Arizona State by 13.75. And it's 5.5. I'll lay it with Arizona State. Pitt, Vandy On the SEC Network, my line's Vandy by 2 3/4, and it's 2.5. Total's 136.5. I'll take the under in that one, actually. Towson and Clemson. My line is Clemson by 3 3/4 and it's 6.5. Give me Towson getting the 6.5. That's what the line is on FanDuel. Cal State, Northridge, and Fresno State. My line is Fresno by 12.5. And it's 13.5. Totals 125.5. I'll take the over. New Mexico State and Santa Clara. My line is Santa Clara by 8.5. And it's 6.5. I'll lay the points. Denver and Sacramento State. My line is Denver by 1 1/4. And it's 4.5. Give me Denver plus the 4.5 and plus 184 to win. Weber State and Cal Baptist. My line is Cal Baptist by 1 1/4. And it's 9.5. Give me Weber getting the points. Missouri State and St. Mary's. Mine is St. Mary's by 18. And it is 13.5. I'm laying it. Hawaii and UNLV. My line is UNLV by 11 1/4. And it's 7.5. I'll lay it. Eastern Washington, Cal. My line is Cal by 8, and it's 3.5. I'll lay it. Merrimack, San Francisco, 10:30. My line is San Francisco by a whopping 23 3/4, and it's only 4.5. I'll lay it. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's 20.5. What was I saying? I was looking at the wrong game. Oops. 20.5. I'll still lay that. And last but not least, we have Fullerton at SC, 11 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network. My line is SC by 23 1/4. And it's 13.5. I'll lay the 13.5 with USC. All right, now I'll move on to the NBA. We will look back on the games from yesterday and look ahead to a busy slate tonight. Cavs over the Lakers, 116-102. Pistons over the Heat, 116-96. And the Mavs over the Nuggets, 116-115. All righty, now the NBA slate. I did not do totals because I had to literally rush the open with the Aaron Judge news. So 7 o'clock, you have the Clippers and the Magic. My line is Clips by 11 3/4. And it is 7. I'm going to lay it. 7:30 Hornets Nets. My line is Nets 17 and it's 10. I'll lay it. 7:30 ESPN Hawks Knicks. My line's Knicks by 2 1/4 and it's 2. Totals 233. I'm taking the over. Knicks are an over team for the most part on the season. Knicks money line minus 120 might actually be smart too. That place is going to be raucous because Judge is back, and I think that most Knicks fans are Yankee fans. So I think that place is going to be rocking tonight, and the booze will be out for Trae Young for sure. Lakers Raptors. My line's Raptors by 12.5. No Anthony Davis, and it's 9.5. I'll lay it. 8 o'clock Wiz Bulls. My line is Bulls 4.5, and it is 5.5. Totals to 27.5. I'll take the over. Thunder Grizz. My line is Grizz 8.5, and it is 7.5. Totals 232. I'll take the over too. Kings Bucks. My line is Bucks 9, and it is 6.5. I'll lay it. Pacers Wolves. My line is Wolves 4 1/4, and it is 4.5. Totals 235.5. I'll take the under because of some injuries. Pelicans Pistons. My line is Pelicans 12.5. And it's 10.5. I'm going to lay it. 9 o'clock Warriors Jazz. My line is Jazz by 1/4. Or 6 1/4. And it's 7.5. Totals 233.5. I'll take the under. A lot of Golden States guys are out tonight. And 10 o'clock ESPN. The game of the night. Celtics Suns. Best two teams in each conference from a record standpoint. My line is Celtics by 2 1/4. And it's 2.5. Totals 230.5. I'll take the under. I think there's going to be some defense played in this game. All right, the NHL, we'll look back on yesterday's games and look ahead to a small window for tonight. Devils over the Blackhawks 3-0. Kings over the Sens 5-2. Pens over the Blue Jackets 4-1. Red Wings over Lightning 4-2. Blues over the Isles 7-4. Jets over the Panthers 5-2. Leafs over the Stars 4-0. Ducks over the Canes 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Ryan Strome. And the Kraken lose at home to the Canadiens 4-2. Oh, 7 games for Wednesday. That's a lot. 7 o'clock, you have the Caps and the Flyers. The Caps are minus 137. Flyers plus 114. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 106. Unders minus 130. Caps minus 1.5 is plus 164. Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 205. I'm going to take the Flyers as a home dog here, plus 114. 7:30 TNT Sabres Jackets. What a terrible freaking game. This should have been an 8 o'clock and 10:30 doubleheader with Bruins Avs at 8 and then Rangers Golden Knights at 10:30. Terrible freaking game. Sabres minus 164. Jackets plus 136. Over under 7. Overs plus 106. Unders minus 132. Sabres minus 1.5 is plus 152. But Columbus plus 1.5 is minus 188. This is a tough one, but I'm going to go with the tie after regulation at plus 340. Wild Flames. Flames minus 152. Wild plus 126. Over under 6. Overs minus 118. Unders minus 104. Wild plus 1.5 is minus 215. Flames minus 1.5 is plus 168. This could have also been in the TNT spot. I'm going with the Wild as a road dog, plus 126. 9 o'clock, Bruins Avs. Bruins minus 184. Avs plus 152. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 104. Unders minus 128. Bruins minus 1.5 is plus 136. Avs plus 1.5 is minus 170. This is obviously an indication of no McKinnon. I'm going Boston and I can't even do Boston regulation. That's overpriced. First period result, Boston plus 138. Coyotes, Oilers, 9:30. Oilers minus 280. Coyotes plus 225. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Coyotes plus 1.5 is minus 105. Oilers minus 1.5 is minus 115. I'm going to go first period result, Edmonton Oilers plus 112. 10 o'clock, TNT, Rangers, Golden Knights. Vegas minus 146. Rangers plus 122. Over under 6. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 205. Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 160. I'm going with the over. Rangers have been an over team this year. And at 10:30, the Canucks and the Sharks. Canucks are slight road favorites, minus 115. Sharks are minus 104 home dogs. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 128. Unders plus 102. Vancouver minus 1.5 is plus 198. Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 250. I'm going with Vancouver as the slight road favorite at minus 115. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I did a reverse of the show today because of the Aaron Judge news. I probably still would have done it like this even if Aaron Judge and the Yankees did not pull the trigger on the deal. And so for best bet, I'm going to lay a quarter unit on Arizona State minus the points. I think that they're a much better team than SMU. I think they're going to roll them. So give me a quarter unit on Arizona State minus 5.5 at minus 104 against SMU. All right, that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, looking at everything tomorrow. Let's see if there's more free agent signings and stuff as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.